What will you do when suddenly a monster appears in front of you? Will you try to fight him or will you run away barefoot? Today we will see the story of one such girl who has power to see the monsters, but she is unaware of that power. Where a girl named Jima was seated next to a doctor. Jima has some special power. She can perceive monsters that a common person can't see. Jima's mom believes that her daughter has become insane. So her mother has admitted her into a mental asylum. Today doctor is going to take a test of Jima. The doctor asks, "Do you still see the monster?" Meanwhile Jima notices a small monster on doctor's hand. That was scratching the doctor's hand. She lies and says, "No, I don't perceive the monsters anymore." After several questions, doctor believes that Jima has completely recovered. So, he permitted her to leave the mental asylum. After that Jima has begun working at a supermarket. Because her mother was admitted to the hospital due to a serious illness. One day while working at the supermarket, Jima sees a monster there, and she makes many mistakes in her work. As a result, owner of the supermarket rebukes her. He gives her a task of distributing the pamphlets outside as a punishment. While distributing the pamphlets, she meets a man named Meng. He was a monster hunter and he was looking for a monster. We also see his friend Paper, who helps him in his work. You can think of Paper in this sense as a person's best instrument, which helps him in his work. This Paper was similar to this. The interesting thing is that this Paper speaks human language. Jima was denying that there is no monster around. Despite her rejection, Meng enters a supermarket with his friend Paper. The three of them become stunned when they witness it. There was a monster who was freezing everything. Meng makes a magical path to trap the monster. He sends his friend Paper to awake the monster from sleep. Paper awakes the monster. And then monster was being dragged there by the Paper. There, Meng has drawn a magical path on the floor, through which he could send the monster in its world back. However, Meng has made a mistake. He hasn't completed the full circle of the magical path he's created. As a result, monster breaks the magical trap. And then he starts pursuing Meng and his Paper. Meng uses his magic stone to transform the monster into a crystal. Jima gets pleased after seeing this. Jima was very happy to know that she isn't the only one in the world who can see the monsters, but there is someone else who also can see the monsters as well. She asks many questions from Meng about this, but Meng remains silent. And he leaves from there, but while leaving, he forgot his crystal in the supermarket. And Jima picks up that crystal. Later, a woman is shown who was observing everything from very far with her magic. Actually she was looking for this girl. So the lady sends one of her monster hunter to bring Jima. Due to the incidents in the supermarket, Jima gets fired by his boss. Now Jima has lost her job. Her house owner has also kicked her out of the house. The owner believed that her madness hasn't ended up yet. Monsters are still visible to her. In the next scene we see Meng, the monster hunter. A girl comes to his house who used to buy monster crystals from him. Meng begins to find those monster crystals but couldn't find it, because he had forgotten that crystal in the supermarket. He gives broken and small piece of crystals to the girl. In exchange, the girl gives him a small sum of money. And she claims that these crystals aren't really helpful for her. While leaving she says that, when the door between monster and human will open this time, it will be your last chase to obtain the crystal of your brother. The girl then exits his home. On the other side, we see Jima walking alone in the night. She is suddenly attacked by some monsters. All of this was taking place close to Meng's house. He learns that there are monsters near his house. He observes that Jima is being chased by all of these monsters. So he helps her. But Meng was unable to combat because the number of monster was increasing. Meanwhile many more monster hunters start to show up. They quickly kill all of those monsters. Because they have weapons stronger than Meng's, for capturing monsters. And all the monster hunters threatened Meng that this is their area, you should not come again here. They changed the monsters into crystals after that they used to sell them. Jimo runs away from there and jumps into Meng's car. She gives him the crystal that she found at the supermarket. She also tells Meng her story. Since she was a young child, she could see the monster. Her mother has sent her to a mental asylum because of this. Everyone believed I was crazy. I don't know why all of these monsters have turned into my lethal foes at this point. Meng says I don't know anything about this. I have no answers to your questions. However, I know a man who can answers all of your questions. Meng brings Jima to that man next day. He possesses a body that was half lion and half man. Which means the man was a monster once. But he has evolved into a half-human. The man gives her 2 cards. The first card she has to put up on the person she trusts the most. And the second card will help her to become invisible for 3 days. She puts up the trust card on Meng because she solely trusts Meng. But this didn't make the man pleased. The man instructed Meng to keep Jima with him. She is now your duty, and you will keep her with you. When Meng was taking Jima home, we saw them trapped in a loop. It indicates that someone was casting magic on them. And the monster hunter was behind this all. Who was sent by the guardian lady to bring Jima. Meng and the monster hunter engage in a fierce battle here. But in the end, he manages to save Jima and brings her in his home. After taking the invisible card from Jima, he placed it at his house. Therefore his house completely vanishes as a result of this dimension. They must stay hidden for 3 days. The next morning when Jima wakes up, the paper tells her that Meng wants to become a good monster hunter like his brother. But unfortunately his brother died in a fight with monsters. Jima is saddened by learning about his brother. As time goes on, Jima and Meng have solidified their friendship. One day Jima gets a call informing her of her mother's poor health condition. The doctors were asking for an operation soon. So they need Jima's signature. After hearing this, Jima becomes very concerned. Meanwhile, a strange monster arrives there, actually. This monster delivers a person to their desired location where they wish to go. Jima has called him using her repressed power. It means Jima has developed her abilities gradually. After listening to this, Jima and Meng arrive at the hospital after using this monster. Jima was delighted to see her mom. Meng realized when they arrived at the hospital that it was a magical trap set by the Lady Guardian. It means Jima has been called here by the Lady Guardian. She claims that your mother's condition is due to your magical powers. She reminds Jima that remember when you were a kid. By using your abilities mistakenly, you had called a monster. Your mother's condition is caused by that monster. She says that your abilities are curse for you. Jima gets ragged after hearing this. And she starts to destroy everything by utilizing her powers. The Lady Guardian tells her that I can still assist you. I'll drain your abilities. As a result, none of your close ones will suffer from your power. And you'll be able to live a regular life. The lady's comments have now entrapped Jima. Jima is now in a remote place with the Lady Guardian. On the other side, we see the bad monster hunter. Who was sent by Lady Guardian. Meng's paper was burned by him, and it has been destroyed. And he also burns Meng's hand with his supernatural abilities. Meng's paper ashes after soaring up reach toward the man. He has a body that was half lion and half human. The paper informs the man about this that Meng needs your help. After hearing this, the man uses his abilities and calls Meng to him. He tells him that we still have time. Jima still possesses her skills, and she has trust in you. You'll have to save her at any cost. He creates Meng's hand using the paper's ash. Meng feels good. He manages to find Jima by the powers of that monster. Jima also felt that. Although the lady has started her magic to grab her powers. Because the gate was soon to be opened, Meng has arrived there to save Jima. Meanwhile, the bad monster hunter with fire abilities arrives. He engages in combat with Meng, in order to stop him. The portal opens in the meantime, and the hunter and Meng see a crystal. Actually, this was Meng's brother's crystal. That he had always desired to take. Meng had a dream to take this crystal. Whoever obtains this crystal will grow into the greatest monster hunter. That's why the other bad monster hunter wants to take it as well. To get this crystal, they get into a fierce struggle with each other. This crystal is taken by the other monster hunter. But as he holds this crystal in his hands, its shine starts to fade. Meanwhile, we see Meng's hand that was made from ash, begins to be reborn. As Meng has touched it once during fight, all of the crystal's powers were transferred into Meng's hand. Now he has become the most powerful monster hunter. He ends the monster hunter's life by using his abilities. He runs straight for Jima, when he sees her who just passed out. He is informed by the monster lady that you are late. Because Jima will vanish from this world soon. Meng tells Jima that we have made it difficult to get here in this regard. And you cannot leave me in this way. I'll be by your side always, and I'll guard you. Jima awakens once more after hearing this. And the gate was still open, now Jima has become more powerful. The supermarket monster has also arrived there when Jima awakens. After using her abilities, Jima quickly kills the guardian lady. Who wants to grab her powers. She also sends the supermarket monster into its world. Later, Jima and Meng become happy to see each other. The movie ends here.